In late 2020, I moved to Maui with my husband and 2 young children. We plan to stay here for only 6 months because we are software engineers and we can work remotely pretty easily. That 6 months turned into almost 2 years now because we fell in love with the life that we built here. One of the main reasons that we decided to stay is because we seek discomfort and we crave a simple life. So some of these challenges that I'll mention are not deal breakers for us, but they may be for you. Number 1, weather. If you think it's always sunny in Hawaii, you may be mistaken. Each island has a leeward and a windward side, dry and wet. The weather will be radically different depending on what side you're on. On Maui, each area has its own microclimate. We live on the south leeward side, so we don't have to deal with so much rain, but it can get really hot. Hurricane season starts around fall time, October, November. We have to buy non-perishable items and stock our freezers and cabinets with food in case the food supply gets affected by the hurricanes. Rainstorms will often cause flooding so intense that the kids will get a day off from school. Lots of soil may run off from the mountains and cause blockages all over the roads near the ocean. One surprising reason why many people choose to move away from the islands is because there is no concept of seasons here. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, everything looks the same. There is no snow or fall leaves. It's mostly sand, sun, and water, and that can feel a little bit unnatural and disconcerting. How we make it work. We made a trip to California for a few weeks in the winter and went to some ski destinations to enjoy the winter wonderland. Traveling out to the mainland regularly gives you a little bit of sense of freshness, seasons, and breaks the monotony of living on the islands. Number 2, time zone. If you're a software engineer and you work remotely, you will have to start your days very early, especially if your company is based in the Eastern time zone. There is a 6-hour time difference. That may mean for some of the meetings, you may have to wake up at 3 or 4 a.m. in the mornings. Even for the Pacific time zones, the workday starts at 6 a.m. I know many of you watching are software engineers or aspiring software engineers, and 6 a.m. just doesn't sound right to most of us. The flip side to starting the day early is that you get to end your day early, and you might think that, oh, I'll get done at 2 p.m. and then I can just be out in the ocean and enjoy the water. But there is another thing you need to keep in mind, that every water, nature, hiking activity is best done in the AM hours, because right around noon, especially on the leeward side, the wind picks up and all you're left with is a super windy, hot afternoon where you may not want to swim in the ocean or surf, and it's just annoying to be out there. How we make it work. Most of the days we do wake up early and start our days and we are indoors, not out and about in the ocean. But we remember to schedule some weekdays that we take the day off, or weekends where we are out early and enjoying all of the nature around us in the AM hours. Number 3, remote jobs may have an unpredictable future. Are they here to stay really? A few months ago, I spoke to an Apple recruiter, and the position that we were talking about, he mentioned that I'll have to move to Cupertino if I wanted that job. Then with the new variant of the disease, Tim Cook extended remote work. But all that makes me think is that remote work can be unpredictable, especially for some specific companies. So before you make a move thinking that remote work will always be here, make sure you talk to HR or just get a sense of where the company wants to go with this policy. How we make it work. We kind of had this in the back of our minds that we may not be privileged enough to work remotely forever. But being senior software developers in the Silicon Valley, both me and my husband have confidence that we may be able to switch companies if our current companies completely revoke the remote work policy. And our second backup plan for this is that we are financially independent. So if we don't have to work for a few years, that's not a deal breaker for us either. And that's why we took a calculated risk of moving somewhere remote and working for as long as we can till the companies have the policy, and if not, we have a few backup plans. Number 4, moving costs. it can cost a whole lot of money to move to Hawaii. When I called the shipping company for my 2-bedroom apartment and car, they gave me a quote of $17,500 to ship everything from mainland California to Hawaii. So I chose just to ship my car for around $2,200, and I donated the rest of my furniture, plates and spoons, because I didn't think that was worth $15,000 at this point. I would have probably bought almost all of that stuff for less than $15,000 if I just got things off of the island secondhand. So do bear in mind, if you have a big household and you want to move everything from the mainland to Hawaii, it will cost you a lot. How we make it work? Because we donated everything, we didn't really own any stuff, no furniture or utensils even. But we ended up liking the life here, so we bought a house, and fortunately it came fully furnished and decorated. Luck just worked for us this time. I know this is a very rare situation, so before you make a move, try to find a furnished apartment and stay here for 3 to 6 months while your current stuff is in a storage wherever you are moving from, and then see if the island life works for you. Number 5. Hawaii is very far away. Hawaii is one of the most remote civilizations in the world. It lays about 2,200 miles from the US mainland, some 3,800 miles from Japan, and 5,673 miles from Australia. A good reason that many people leave the island is that they miss family. Some of my friends make mainland trips around 5 to 6 times a year just to catch up with their friends and keep in touch with their families. It can add up to be a lot, especially if you have kids. And if you have to fly from Maui to a smaller city, it may take you a whole day or even 2 days, including the layovers, to make that one-way trip. How we make it work? We obviously miss our friends and family here, but we are also very grateful that they've been visiting us on the regular. We also made a 4-week trip last year to California, and we caught up with all our friends and family. But the most important thing that we've done is to create new social connections while we are living here. We are very grateful to have found a set of friends that have helped us in times of need, and we'll be there to support them at the drop of a hat if they need us. I also volunteer to help poor families in the community get clothing and some items that they need. It's at a local church, and that gives me a sense of connection to the land and the people. Number 6, shortage of healthcare. The state of Hawaii has a severe shortage of doctors, specialists, and specialty care. Maui has 14 hospital beds with ventilators. In the middle of the pandemic, that was a scary statistic to learn. There is one urologist on the island, and if you needed an appointment with him, you'd probably have to wait at least 6 months for a routine checkup. The best care among the Hawaiian Islands is on Oahu. So for surgeries or care for ailments like cancer, many families routinely fly to Oahu or even to the mainland. Some insurance companies will provide these travel costs and others won't. So do bear that in mind, especially if you need this kind of care on a regular basis. How we make it work? We don't have a very good workaround for this problem except to live an active and a healthy lifestyle. We enjoy a plethora of healthy plant-based whole foods in our daily diet, and we exercise rigorously at least 4 to 5 times a week. This is a good strategy no matter where you live. Number 7, schools and childcare. You will probably not find 10 on 10 rated government schools or Ivy League level colleges in Hawaii. There aren't too many options, so if you do have kids, please do your own research before moving. On the island of Maui, there are 2 private schools that I've found so far that I would be keen to send my kids to, but both of them are a 45-minute one-way drive. So we really have to think hard about how we are going to make that drive work. Should we carpool with other parents or hire somebody to do a 90-minute drive to drop off and then a 90-minute drive to pick up? If we are working a 40-60 hour work week, we might not have the bandwidth to drive 3 hours every day. If you have infants, finding a long-term reliable nanny is also very hard. The prices start at around $25 to $30 an hour, and I know that many nannies move from the mainland to work here, but they don't end up liking, for the same reasons that we are talking about in this video, they don't end up liking the life over here, and they move back to the mainland. So there's a lot of attrition in this profession, and it is very hard to find somebody reliable and consistent for a long term. How we make it work. I'm trying to figure out the commute to the private schools that I liked, the one that I mentioned before, but I'm also very flexible, not picking up a 9-to-5 job right now. And if I have to be the primary caregiver or homeschool my kids, I'm very open to that option. I understand not everybody has that flexibility in their family dynamics. You might not be financially prepared for one person to stop working. So this is a huge deal. If you have children and you want the best education for them, you might have to do a lot of research before moving to Maui. Number 8, high cost of living. Hawaii is an expensive state to live in. State taxes are high, groceries are at least 25% high. The electricity is some of the highest costing per unit in the country. Childcare costs are very high. At this time of recording, the inventory on the island is around 300 houses. That is severely depleted. It's a seller's market for sure. So you might have a little bit of trouble finding housing, whether it's rental or whether you want to buy. If you're a software engineer and you are living in California, the Bay Area, and you live a comfortable life, this point might not be a deal breaker for you, but I still thought I'd mention it because not everybody makes $400,000 as a software engineer. How we make it work? We do live well below our means and we try to save as much as possible. We don't spend on flashy clothes or cars or anything like that. We get the best quality food, best quality childcare, and a decent living situation for ourselves. And being software developers, the two of us, for the last 10 years, we've built a really strong financial foundation for ourselves, and that's why we are able to afford this life in Hawaii. There you have it, 8 main reasons why moving to Maui specifically might not be a good idea. The romance of moving to this tropical island is very attractive, but the reality can be harsh. We love living on Maui. After spending 10 years in the San Francisco Bay Area, this lifestyle was what we were craving. Our closest friends won't do it. In the end, these are very rural islands and they don't have much of the urban comforts of 75 meal delivery services or massive gymnasiums or swimming pools or the infrastructures that the big cities have. But if the above mentioned points aren't deal breakers for you and you do end up moving to Maui, consider it a new life where you leave the toxic, cutthroat culture behind and embrace a slow, simple life. Living with aloha might sound like a tourist trap, but if you truly learn the essence and cultivate this connection with the people, sea, and the land, you will have a wonderful time in paradise. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really had fun making it because we've been living on Maui for almost 2 years and this place has become really special to my heart. If you enjoyed this video, and you are an aspiring software engineer, you will definitely enjoy the video where I talk about how to become a software engineer and the best ways to get there. I break each method down step by step and I also mention how much it might cost you. So go check that video out, and thank you for watching till the end. As always, stay happy and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.